You are standing on the African savannah. It is night. Not night the way you experience night. Not a dark walk to your car or a city street with the lights off. Real night. The kind of dark that has weight. The kind of dark where the things that want to eat you have every advantage and you have none. You can hear something moving in the grass 30 meters to your left. You don't know what it is. You can't see it. You can't outrun it. You can't fight it. You are small. You are slow. You are cold. You have no fire. This is where your ancestors lived for millions of years before the moment that changed everything. Before the spark. Before the first human handheld a burning branch and didn't drop it. Before someone looked at the thing that had always meant death and destruction and decided to carry it home instead. That moment happened roughly 1,000,000 years ago. Maybe a little earlier. Maybe a little later. The oldest confirmed evidence of controlled fire used by human ancestors is around 1,000,000 years old, found in a cave in South Africa called Wonderwork. 1,000,000 years ago, something looked at fire and understood it for the first time. But here's the question nobody asks. What if it happened 2,000,000 years ago instead? What if somewhere on that same savannah, 1,000,000 years earlier than it actually did, one of your ancestors picked up a burning branch from the lightning strike and carried it back to the group instead of running from it? What if the discovery that changed everything happened one single moment earlier than it did in our timeline? Where are we then? Where does the world look like? How far ahead are we? The answer is so far ahead that the world you live in right now would be unrecognizable. To understand why, you have to understand what fire actually did to us the first time around. Because fire didn't just keep us warm. Fire didn't just scare away predators. Fire did something to our bodies that no other single human event in human history ever matched. Fire cooked our food. And cooking food changed what we are at a biological level so completely that humans who existed before cooking and the humans who existed after are almost different animals. Here's what happened when you cook food raw. Raw meat and raw plants are full of nutrients, but those nutrients are locked behind cellular walls and complex protein structures that your digestive system has to work for hours to break down. Cooking breaks those structures before the food even reaches your gut. It's pre-digestion. Your body pulls more calories out of cooked food with less effort than it pulls from raw food. A lot more. Some researchers estimate that cooking effectively doubled the caloric value of the food our ancestors were eating. When your body suddenly has twice the calories available from the same amount of food, something has to change. And what changed was the gut and the brain. The gut shrank. You don't need 6 meters of intestine to process food that's already been partially broken down. Energy that was going into running a massive digestive system got freed up. And that energy went somewhere. It went to the brain. The human brain is the most calorically expensive organ in the known universe relative to body size. It uses 20% of everything you eat just to keep the lights on. You cannot run that machine on raw leaves and uncooked tubers. You need cooked, dense, calorie-rich foods to sustain a brain that size. And as cooking provided more and more of that fuel, the brain grew. Generated by generation, millennium by millennium. More calories in, bigger brain produces better tools and strategies that produce more calories, which grow the brain more. Fire started a feedback loop that turned a medium-sized primate into the most cognitively complex organism that has ever existed on this planet. That process took roughly 1,000,000 years to process us. Now, run it 1,000,000 years earlier. Humans alive 2,000,000 years ago when fire was discovered in this alternate timeline are not modern humans. They are Homo habilis, most likely small, maybe 4.5 feet tall, a brain about half the size of yours, already using simple stone tools, already social, already communicating, and more complex than any other animal alive at the time, but nowhere near what you are now. Start the fire feedback loop on them 1,000,000 years earlier, and by the time our actual timeline produces the first controlled fire, they are already 1,000,000 years into the process we are now at the end of. The brains have grown the ways our grew. Their guts have shrank the ways ours shrank. Their tools have gone from simple stone flakes to something we can barely imagine. Their social structures have gone from small nomadic brands to something we start to look at as organized society. By the time our ancestors in real timeline are still huddling around the first fire, the humans in this world are already building. Not cities, not yet, but settlements, permanent structures, the beginning of a chain that leads to agricultural and writing in cities and everything else, just 1,000,000 years ahead of schedule. Now, here's where it gets staggering. The entire recorded history of human civilization is about 5,000 years old. Writing, cities, agriculture, science, technology, everything you can name from human history fits inside 5,000 years. That is how fast we went from the first city to landing on the moon. 5,000 years. In a world where fire was discovered 1,000,000 years earlier, the civilization that emerges from that feedback loop has not 5,000 years of a head start. It has 1,000,000. 200 times the entire length of recorded human history. 200 times the time it took us to go from the first city to nuclear weapons to the internet to artificial intelligence. What does a city civilization look like after 1,000,000 years of continuous development? We have no framework for this. We can't even imagine it. The gap between a stone tool and a smartphone is 5,000 years. The gap between where we are now and where their civilization would be is 200 times that. Whatever they built, whatever they became, whatever problems they solved, and whatever problems they created, it is so far beyond our current understanding that describing it is like trying to explain the internet to someone who has never seen fire. They might have left the planet. They might have reshaped the planet itself. They might have solved aging. They might have solved death. They might have built things that are still landing right now and we don't recognize them as buildings. They might have reached the other stars. They might have come back. Or they might have destroyed themselves because intelligence doesn't guarantee wisdom. The same brain that builds the bomb also decides to drop it. A civilization a million years more advanced than ours has a million years more time to develop weapons, to fight wars, to make the kind of mistakes that end everything. The most advanced civilization in this scenario isn't automatically the most peaceful one. It isn't the one who survived its own intelligence long enough to figure out how to use it not destructively. And that is the hardest problem any intelligent species ever faces. We are 40 years into the nuclear age and we've already come closer to ending ourselves than most people know. A civilization a million years old has faced that problem not once but thousands of times in forms we cannot predict with weapons we can't imagine. The ones that made it through are the ones that figured out something we haven't yet. Or maybe nobody made it through. Maybe the planet had a civilization a million years more advanced than ours and burned itself so completely there's nothing left to find. Maybe the reason we have no trace is the same reason a fire leaves no trace of the wood it consumed. And here's the thing you should sit with after this video ends. The gap between discovering fire and not discovering fire is one moment. One lightning strike that hits close enough. One ancestor curious enough not to run. One spark that landed on dry grass instead of wet. The entire trajectory of human civilization balances on a moment so small it has no name. It happened once. It almost didn't happen at all. And in a universe of infinite possible timelines, it happened at exactly the right moment to produce exactly the level of development needed to create a world you live in. One moment earlier and we are gods. One moment later and we're still sitting in the dark. You are the product of perfect timing so precise it borders on impossible. And somewhere out there another version of your ancestor got lucky a million years before you did, and you will never know what they built. But let's make this personal for a second, because this isn't just a thought experiment about ancient humans and timelines and civilizations we'll never see. This is about you, right now, today. You are the direct biological result of that feedback loop. The brain that you are using to process this video, to follow this argument, to feel the weight of what a million years actually means. The brain exists because somewhere on a dark savanna 2 million years ago, someone looked in fire and didn't run. Every thought you have ever had, every person you have ever loved, every decision you've ever made, every ambition you have ever felt late at night when everything is quiet and you let yourself think about what you actually want to do with your life. All of it traces back to one spark. And here's what it means for you specifically. You are not the end of that process. You are the middle of it. The feedback loop you started with the fire still running. Your brain is still the most expensive organ your body has ever tried to maintain. Evolution is still happening. The version of humanity that exists a million years from now is far beyond you, and you are beyond the ancestors who first picked up that burning branch. You are not the finishing product. You are the experiment still running. The question is what you do with the million years you didn't have to wait for.